Welcome back, everyone. Another quick review video. Satisfactory. This game has been out for a while now, and after playing for about 850 hours of this game, I thought it was time to show my overall experience with the game. Simply put, it plays like a survival game similar to Minecraft, but with lots of machines. Instead of having to do all the digging and finding the materials in a mine, in Satisfactory, you have miners to gather resources and then transport those resources to machines to make stuff. In later tiers, things start to get complicated. You'll need different kinds of materials and items to make new and more advanced items to progress in the game. The only difficult part about this game is how good or bad are your basic math skills. If you're good at math, then it shouldn't be an issue, but my brain freezes up when it comes to decimals and percentages. Most people will see these mega factories on YouTube from channels like Total Eclipse and Gaming with Doc. While I've never built anything as big as they have, this is probably the biggest factory I've personally made, which to some looks probably simple, but for new players, don't feel intimidated. This is something you slowly build up to. Here's a quick example. Iron is the first thing you will start off using. Literally, you will mine for iron ore by hand, but it's very slow. So once you have enough items to craft some portable miners, this helps you with gathering iron ore a little faster. However, you have to keep coming back to them and making space for them to keep mining. Your next goal is to build some generators for power. This will allow you to build and power miners, which will infinitely produce iron ore for you at a specific rate depending on the purity. Then connect them with conveyor belts into smelters to create iron ingots, to then send them to a constructor to make things like iron plates or iron rods. Now comes the math. Always look at the orange number. Match that number with the amount coming out of the miner. For example, if this miner has 120 iron ore per minute coming out of it, and each smelter can only handle 30 iron ore per minute to make 30 iron ingots per minute. That means you need at least 4 smelters to smelt equally. Then look at the constructor and see that 30 iron ingots gets you 20 iron plates. But iron rods only needs 15 iron ingots to make 15 iron rods. Then to make screws, you only need 10 iron rods, which means to equal this out for maximum efficiency, you'll need 2 iron rod constructors, then split 3 ways to 3 screw constructors. I hope that sounded simple because that was the easy math. Later on, as you unlock later tiers, the math begins to change, and it takes a while to figure out how much raw resources you need, and how many machines you will need, and where to have the factory. Do you bring all the resources to one location? Or do you make different factories around the large world, and then create freeways of conveyor belts to get them to where you need them to go? Then perhaps a storage facility on your main route around the world. Or build vehicles to transport resources, or later on, trains. Transporting liquids is probably the most confusing and difficult thing to figure out. I usually just use trains to move liquids far distances, but there are tons of tutorial videos explaining all those different ways of how to play this game. Now, there is a lot of building involved, but thank God they added the zoop feature. Oh my god, building took forever back in the day when you had to place everything one at a time. At least the best thing about this game is if you place something wrong, you can just delete it and get all the resources back. That's right, unlike in most other games where you place something in the wrong spot and you try to take it back but only get maybe half the resources in return, not in Satisfactory. The game allows you to experiment and try out designs without consequences. The goal of the game is to produce these unique items and send them to this big elevator structure. This is how you progress through the game and unlock later advanced tiers. This is more or less how you beat the game, but it's kind of open-ended. Maybe for you, it's exhausting every resource node in the entire world. Maybe it's build a certain number of factories. Any kind of personal goal could be the way you decided you beat the game. There is some combat with 3 different types of creatures. This rhino looking one that tries to charge at you, this creature shoots out colored projectiles, and these fast running spiders that kind of remind me of Oddworld. Each has a bigger and stronger version and even a boss-like version. You can fight these and collect their samples for research and craft health kits. You'll start by fighting them with your stun stick and unlock the stun sword, and later get a bolt action pistol, and finally an automatic rifle. The best ammo is the homing in ammo that will go after enemies you're aiming at. Now that all sounds simple, but I did mention power, and that is going to be the constant battle you will face when expanding. At the beginning, you'll have these biogenerators that run on leaves or wood, but you have to spend a lot of time harvesting that, and they take a long time to regrow, so you'll need to explore farther out and collect more. However, this means you should try and research coal power as quickly as possible. Now you have a steady stream of power. The black line is how much power you're producing, the blue line is the maximum amount of power you need if all of your machines were running, and the orange line is how much power you are currently using. You'll find yourself battling this from time to time, needing to build a new factory but blow a fuse because you don't have enough power. So you'll need to go find more coal, or hopefully advance your technology to oil and use it to create fuel. Once you got more power generators and fuel to power them, you'll then get to expand a lot of factories. And that's mainly the game. There is some cool extra stuff like unlocking what's basically creative mode, where you store items in this dimensional depot. Now you can use those items from anywhere in the world. This helps free up inventory space, so you don't have to figure out how much stuff you need to carry, then go to the location to build your machines, and if you run out, then you have to run all the way back to get more resources. I do have fun revisiting old sites and figuring out a better layout for the factory, maybe put a structure around it. And yes, you can customize it by coloring it. Maybe you want to add another floor with the same layout. Just color the floor to know where everything goes. Overall, Satisfactory is a great relaxing game, and yes, there is multiplayer to play with friends. So I'm going to give it a perfect score of 10 out of 10. Thanks for watching, guys.